A beautiful warm spring evening, temperatures just under 90 degrees here in San Antonio, Texas at Toyota Field. The second match of the season for the home team, SAFC 1-0-0 on the season, and the season opener for the visiting Monarchs of Salt Lake City. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. Tyler Denning, Tim Hankinson, and Tim, we go back to last week's season opener for SAFC. Colorado Springs is in town, but it was the offensive fireworks for SAFC. Santiago Patino with the hat trick.
He had a magical night, and you know, these coaches and players, they worked so hard in the preseason waiting for the opening night, and it was perfect for them, not just offensively but defensively. But Patino lit it up with a hat trick, and it was just brilliant.
We'll see the 3 goals here, and it wasn't just him creating on his own. A lot of good linkage between the squad.
Yeah, the crossing was outstanding from Epps on one side and Cuello on the other. PC got a part of the 3rd goal, and it all came from wide positions, and I think you saw a lot of direct balls played over the wing backs to lead the wingers into those positions. And Patino was brilliant in just being that poacher in the box, being that guy looking for that one final touch. And that's what led to a hat trick.
Just the second hat trick in SAFC history. And you think in spite of the 3-0 effort that they still have room for improvement offensively?
Yeah, I think their possession was not at the highest percentage. They weren't near 50%. It was much lower in the 30s. And yet it didn't affect the result. They played a more direct game, which is really not a possession game. And that led to direct opportunities and 3 goals. So hats off to them for not being a part of analytics and just getting the job done.
So that's the offensive side. We talk defense, a clean sheet, obviously. Again, you talk defense for this team. It starts with the goalkeeper, Matthew Cardoni.
Yeah, the Beard, I think he's got 20 overall shutouts in his career here, started his career here. But it was really the defensive concept as a team. They played great as a back 4. They lost 1 defender. Ems filled in quickly, and they didn't miss a beat. And the team as a whole just didn't let up dangerous opportunities. So as a group, they should be very confident in knowing that they held a good Colorado team in the opening match to 0 goals against.
How about the challenge, though, on the opposite side for Cardoni's counterpart, Duznup, the youngster, getting the season opener start?
Yeah, I think young keepers put on the spot like that. He's going to be nervous. It's his first, opening of the season, playing against a team that dominated Colorado. So if SAFC can get that early goal against him, it'll only, force the nerves to take over.
So that's what to look forward to tonight. Second match of the season for the home team, SAFC, and the season opener for the Monarchs of SLC. We will get you starting lineups and kick things off when we come back.
We have been helping thousands of small businesses, not only here in San Antonio, but across our footprint. Knowing that SWBC was our partner in our health benefits and all our employee benefits was a relief for me. I knew that we could continue to do our work, we could continue to do our mission, because SWBC had our back. I tell you, for a not-for-profit, we have an excellent benefit program.
If sweat is your body's natural way of cooling itself down, then condensation is a beer's natural way of saying, drink me. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer.
New Highlander, Mr. D?
Yeah, it was time for a change. For something nicer, more refined, with plenty of space. Comfy, Derek?
Yes, sir.
Elevate every ride in the spacious 2021 Highlander.
Get $1,500 customer cash, or qualified lessees can lease the sophisticated new 2021 Highlander L for only $279 a month. Toyota, let's go places.
At Raising Cane's, we know quality takes time, patience, and the best ingredients, which is why every chicken finger we serve is cooked to order just for you. We never take shortcuts, but that doesn't mean you can't. Introducing an even easier way to order Cane's with our new app. Find your closest restaurant, customize your meal, pay, and schedule pickup. So next time, take it easy and order with the Raising Cane's app.
Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
All set, ready to go here. Match number 2 on the season for SAFC and the first match of the season for the Real Monarchs of SLC.
Pretty traditional kickoff. A lot of teams use it where they send 2-3 players down one side of the park towards the corner and the ball is driven there. Just trying to catch the opponent in their half to start the game. So we're not on our heels.
Nathan and Patino, the forwards for SAFC. Epps, Cuello, Lindy, Lima, Kamiri in the midfield. You see the challenge there, draws the whistle. It was Lindy.
And I think you're seeing now the shape taking place of Monarchs playing in a 4-3-3. A triangle in the center of the park that can give a team like SAFC, who plays a 4-4-2, a numerical advantage there. So they'll have to sort those numbers out. Yeah, that was dangerous.
That trickles through harmlessly, and we'll leave the ball for Matt Cardoni. Monarchs coming off a season in which they go 3-11-2, 1-3-1 on the road. They averaged 0.69 points per game, going scoreless in their final 2 matches of last season. 1-0 loss against New Mexico United and 4-0 against El Paso.
San Antonio has lost one of their big advantages. Schuberg, the center back, who was injured yesterday at 6'7".
That ball sent in, played off the head, but dribbled out of bounds by Epps.
But Kamiri and some of their center backs getting forward, give them plenty of height to challenge these balls.
Long ball sent down. Gleedle keeping the opposition at bay, and Malik Johnson. Talked about it in the open a little bit, but if SAFC wants to get off to that hot start, continue scoring goals, what will be some of the keys?
Well, I think, you know, early in the game, you're trying to develop a rhythm, and the rhythm comes with, again, keeping good care of the ball, getting your possession game going, getting all the players a ball on their feet to feel a part of the match. And that forces your opponent to play on their heels a bit and have to defend. So that's something. We only had 39% of the possession the last game against Colorado, and it really should be closer to 50% to have our share of the game. And I think you look at our center backs, wing backs, when they get the ball, they're starting to look at the forwards who are leaning into attacking runs and looking to play long ball. And I think early in the game, it's okay to test their back four, but really let's settle the game down and get our possession game going.
Yeah, had a nice conversation with SAFC head coach Alan Marcina earlier in the week about that season opener. Said he was extremely pleased with the level of commitment and application. Said they asked for 90-plus minutes of focus, maximum intensity and resiliency. The team performed well with such good strike on that ball. Bodie Davis with the right foot.
Yeah, there's no question that Coach Marcin is ingrained in this team philosophically, that you're going to grind and fight on both sides of the ball, both in the attack and also defensively. And there's no soft play about it.
Said he was very proud of them as a collective. Talk about soft play there. These two teams feeling each other out. Emil Cuello will take the kick for SAFC.
He's got a great left foot. PC last year took most of these kicks, but Cuello's been given the nod this year to take corners and free kicks in and around the box. I spoke too soon.
Ricochets right off the left leg. Malik Johnson set up right in front of him. Lito with the throw in, misses his mark.
You can see the coaches already at the top, even outside of their coaching box. Both coaches very anxious. They both have great history in this league for successes with teams. Olavi for the Monarchs, great player, won championships at Real Salt Lake. And he wants to see his team get off to a good start, just the way San Antonio did in their first match.
Yeah, Jamison Olave, 17, 12, and 6 during his time as the Monarchs manager, 7 years of his pro career playing for the parent club of Real Salt Lake. Was originally hired as the club's defensive coach. Defense will be tasked to slow down a team that scored 3 goals. It was that man right there taken down in the box, Santiago Patino.
It's a great turn by Nathan to catch that defender flat-footed.
Fans very unhappy with the last sequence. Talk about what you were seeing just there.
And I'm not so sure there was some contact for both players, but I didn't see the arm grab him around the waist, even though it was present in that area. I think Patino felt maybe he could enhance a call and lean the referee his way. So I think it was a good no call.
SAFC squad coming off a 10-3-3 season. 7-0-1 at Toyota Field during the 2020 campaign, a home unbeaten streak of 14 matches. Tim, this team has been so impressive.
It has, but you know, it's every year is a different journey, and what we're seeing tonight is only 2 players from last year's squad in the San Antonio lineup with PC and Cardone. So all of these new players, they don't really have a real feel for that history, and they can't express a pride or a motivation to maintain that. They've got to go out and make their own mark and create their own piece of history to feel a part of it.
Flag up for one of those players, Nathan, on loan from Curitiba in Brazil.
He's a good player, and Patino came through, even though he's from Colombia, South America. He came through FIU, Florida International University, and then was the number 3 overall pick in the MLS Super Draft, moving on to Orlando City, and now an opportunity to make his mark as a full-time starter and as a goal scorer. And it's very interesting. I've seen guys who maybe did not have great success at the major league level scoring goals, but they drop one step back into a different league and they become a dominant player, and hopefully that's what we're going to see out of him this year.
Corner kick coming for the Monarchs.
Yeah, you can see 4 zonal players inside the 6. The rest are marked up man-to-man.
That ball shoots in tight. Cardone, no problem for the Beard.
good pressure by Epps.
It was initially.
I think it was just the hands coming up on his back, and that's a discipline thing where you have the guy in a bad spot. He can't face forward. Just stay on him tight, but just don't overplay it where you do commit the foul.
You had asked Coach Marcina about the week of training since the season opening victory, and he said for this Monarchs team, really a lot of unknowns, being that they hadn't played yet, so no preseason matches that they could scout. They had recently announced their roster, so they did more of an individual player analysis versus how the actual team would be organized, so a challenge. But as most coaches will say, let's focus on our side of the ball.
Right. You know, there's a great quote in that book from 2,500 years ago, General Sun Tzu of The Art of War. And they say, you know, to know yourself and not the enemy, you only win half the battles. To know your enemy and not yourself, you only win half. It's not until you understand yourself and the enemy. They don't have that luxury tonight. All they can do is San Antonio has to understand what they're capable of and try to make adjustments at halftime once they've got a feel for what the Monarchs have to bring.
Monarchs finished last season with a goal differential of -11. They allowed just over a goal and a half per game. With the throw-in. We just crossed the 11-minute mark.
That's unlucky there. I liked how Nathan came from the forward position and checked all the way back in the midfield to force defenders to make decisions. Do I go with them and open up a hole, or do I stay? And then it's the ability to find Nathan's feet and tell him to turn and play on from there. It creates problems, and that's what you need to do for defenders, is force them to make decisions. They make good decisions, they solve it. But if they don't make good decisions, take advantage of it.
It's number 10, Emil Cuello, that was down on the pitch. Back up, ready to go. Talk possession in that season opener right now. The Monarchs 56.2% to 43.8.
Well, I mean, and you know, if you reverse how San Antonio's mentality would be after a 3-0 win, they enter this game feeling like let's score, let's score, let's score. Maybe a little bit over anxious instead of settling the game down and gaining control with possession. So you can see where they're going to give some balls away and kind of force the issue.
Opportunity potentially here. Defense quickly back for SLC. Squash the effort.
I guess what I'm trying to conclude saying is that patience is hard to teach, you know, and sometimes in a game you need patience, that the goals will come and unfold if you're doing the other things well.
That challenge will draw the whistle. Max Mata with the shoulder. Kamiri hit the deck. Back the other way we go.
And you got the Monarchs being very patient right now, playing their first line of defense with their top three, kind of just 25 yards across the halfway. Not applying full pressure, but not making it easy to play through as well because they're not opening up defensively. That's a little bit of those nerves we talk about.
Yeah, young keeper in Duznup back there defensively for SLC. Whistle will go against San Antonio.
Well, you know, it's become a very new challenge for keepers, particularly young keepers, because everyone wants them to play out with their feet. They want to play tight little passes and angles and play around pressure. And that's not so easy for young players who are still developing their technical ability with ball control and passing.
Yeah, Dusnup was the former youngest Real Salt Lake player, signing at age 16 in January.
I don't remember 16, I can tell you. And here's a guy playing as a professional at that age. Amazing. But the brilliant part is you see keepers playing age 35, 38, 40 years old. So he's got so much time to develop if he's just brought along the right way.
And you contrast that to the other side with Cardone, 20th career shutout, as you mentioned last week, most in team history. You saw on the graphic working his way up to most amount of games played in franchise history as well.
But I will say this when we talk about bringing a guy up the right way is when I was coaching San Antonio Scorpions, we hired a local goalkeeper coach, Juan Lamadrid. And Juan is still the goalkeeper coach and also works over part-time at Trinity, where he helped raise Cardone from an under-17 national player into what he is today. And so he still works with him on a daily basis, and that consistency and relationship, I think, has really helped to develop Cardone into a first-class keeper.
A couple numbers moving forward for the Monarchs, but SAFC defense quickly back. Marcina had talked about that defensive back line, all four with MLS experience.
That makes a big difference. I mean, MLS is a very high standard, and you're going against world-class players. And so as you develop as a defender, you've just about seen it all. And if you can recruit and sign players of that level to come in and gel as a back four, it's going to carry you through so many games in the season without giving up anything and putting your team in a hole.
Daniel Flores to throw it in for the Monarchs. Great crowd out here this evening. Mentioned 14-match home unbeaten streak. Coach Marcina was so excited to have fans back in the building, said the level of energy was amazing. The players feed off of that. It mentioned earlier the game model so demanding. They asked for 90-plus minutes, but to have the fans back, Coach really feeling like his players able to tap into that and give as much as they can.
There no question players thrive on that energy from the fans, and so do I. I remember getting a chance to call games last year, and we had nobody here, and yet it was an interesting experience because you could hear the players' voices and their communication on the field, which normally with fans you never get to hear.
Right.
So, but the game is about fans, and having them back tonight and for this season is just makes it special.
It was a socially distanced sellout crowd of 3,768 in the season opener. Looks to be comparable this evening. It's a free kick coming for the Monarchs.
These kicks are always challenging because it's a question of when does the defense drop, how long do they hold.
Played in, Cardone coming out.
That's
Makes it
well
look
done.
So easy.
Yeah, if a goalkeeper can share his confidence with his team on balls like that and come out and dominate the air, it makes life for defenders so easy. But it's also important that defenders challenge for those balls because they really don't know whether that keeper's going to come out every time. So they've got to be up for the task and show their bravery as well.
Long ball. Covered nearly half the pitch. Trying to build, move forward. Beautiful ball through, and that's in!
Brilliant. Just brilliant.
Marcus Epps with the opening goal for SAFC.
There were two classic points to be made on that. Is the channel pass. It's something we teach players constantly, trying to find the channel between two defenders to lead a run in behind, and it was done brilliantly. that was Lindley playing that beautifully paced pass. And then for Epps, he doesn't try to beat the keeper at the near post, doesn't try to overstrike the ball. He just places it hard, low, far post, which is just a classic teaching of the game. I wish all young players would understand how important it is to put your ball on frame, hard, low, far post like that.
Tim, you preached patience earlier. We saw it right there.
Yeah.
Getting the first goal. It was beautiful linkage between that quartet of players for Epps. He had 4 goals, 2 assists for the Portland Timbers, 2 last season. Played all 90 minutes against Colorado Springs last Saturday. Some MLS experience in Philly. But a very nice opening goal for SAFC here in their second match of the season. Look at that ball.
I'll tell you what I'm excited about, though, is that of the 4 first goals of this season, all of them have been beautifully constructed, and all constructed by different players. And so it's not based on one playmaker trying to build the game to get the ball to him so he can make the final pass. This is coming from a lot of intelligence spread around the field and very well constructed opportunities and great finishing. I mean, last game it was 14 shots on goal and only 5 on target. And you like to get that up to 50%. Now, certainly the goals came from a player that had 5 shots and 4 on goal. But as a team, you wanted to get to 50% to make sure you get those shots on goal. And
Lee
so this
Johnson
helps that average.
Skirting down the side and tried for that upper 90, but a little too much juice. And to your point, I'd asked Coach Martinez, we try to get a feel for this team on the young season, a lot of new faces. Said, hey, where's the offensive key? Obviously, you can look at Patino with the numbers and the goals scored, but the very first word he said was collective. The collective of this group is the offensive key. That is their game model. And you've seen that on display in the highlights of the 3 goals we showed you from the opener and then the 1 goal we have thus far. Monarchs trying to counter. An opportunity there, saved by Cardone off the boot. That could have easily made things 1-1.
Yeah, easily. Great save. I mean, that's bravery at its best. You just open your body as big as it can be and know you're going to take the hit of the shot. But to a keeper, it doesn't matter. That's just, it's your job, and you're up to take that punishment as needed.
Number 63, Max Mata, the forward for the Monarchs. New Zealand national team player, made his debut versus Lithuania back in 2019 at the age of 18, but nearly equalized.
Yeah, the other thing I've noticed about their goals, both last game and today, is the support, the speed of support they're getting from their midfielders is very impressive. I mean, the strikers not being left alone. Their strikers are working on the finishing end of things, and the midfield comes up so quickly to be a part of it, and they find those open players making runs into space, as we saw in that last goal.
Cuello to take the corner kick. Glances off the head, but wide of the frame. SAFC outshot their opponent, the Switchbacks, 17-5. 5 of those being on target in the season opener. Started last season scoring 23 goals during their 11-match unbeaten run. Then slowed things down really towards the end, but as you've mentioned, a lot of new faces, new places, new identity being developed across the course of training, and obviously for us to see here in the match.
Some people are more sold on analytics, but the studies that I've done with teams that I've had is that if you can get your shots on target at 50% of the number of shots you take, then you're going to have multiple goal games. When it's less than that, then, 1 goal, maybe 2, but it's going to be much less than multiple goals. And so I was surprised in the last game, 17 shots and only 5 on target. But again, mentioning Patino, he had 4 of his shots on target. That's almost a perfect night. So.
Yeah, 3 of them in the back of the net.
Right.
You'll take that for analytics, right?
Right, but if he's not performing like that, then the statistic that I'm talking about really falls short in the goal-scoring column. And I would also say that's with crosses, getting 50% of your crosses in the dangerous area.
That's something the Monarchs have been able to do, at least well early on. Some of those balls played out from wide, crossed in, have led to potential opportunities. Just a second ago, we saw PC, the captain for SAFC, getting a little talking to. It's been a physical match thus far. Good touch of the ball. Moving forward, but the defender getting there in time, just clipping Nathan. Beautiful job to recover. Jazil Orozco for the Monarchs.
Great switch of play, open up the game, give him his one-on-one space.
Good defense on that back line. Shielding off the opponent. That'll pull out the first card of the match. PC hitting the deck. Chris Garcia will be the one charged with the yellow card.
That's too bad, the way his leg gets wrapped underneath and then body's twist and that ankle gets caught.
So the first card we've seen, PC up.
PC's a gladiator. I mean, he's a tough player, so he'll be fine.
He assisted on Patino's first goal on Saturday. His first game as the captain.
Well, he brings such experience after he came from Brazil as a young player. Played for Fort Lauderdale Strikers in the NASL and then went on to Tampa and then ended up in Major League with Vancouver. So, you know, bringing him back into the USL, he's just such an experienced guy, and he's tough in the tackle and brilliant with his passing.
Opposite side in terms of passing wise there, that pass just a little too much on. SAFC will try to build the other way.
Nathan's got to do a better job as a target, becoming soft at that point. He's got a lot of momentum in the pass, a lot of pace that's going to come off your body too far if you're stiff and not trying to absorb it. And as a target striker, that's essential that he bring that ball down and invite his midfielders forward so they continue the attack.
Goal came in the 19th minute, Marcus Epps. But it was every major name involved. A couple of really nice passes, got the ball to him. Take it to the left side of the goal to make it 1-0.
Yeah, Kamere trying to make too difficult a pass. I think players have got to understand their limitations, and midfielders have got to understand the abilities of their defenders to make challenging passes and be better at going to collect balls off their defenders.
When you see this, quickly the opposition surrounding Nathan as Nathan hits the ground. The officials will be right on top of that, try to split the two teams up. Coach Marcina in there, a lot going on here.
Well, it's a very important scene early in the season because when a player is picked on and taken down, then it is very important that teammates come and get in between the opponent and their teammate who's on the ground to present opposition to that. It doesn't mean create a fight or have contact, but you've got to show the opponent that you're ready to stand up for your teammate.
And here's where it all started. You see, that's what he was pointing at right there. Just clipping in the back. Kyle Adams coming in, number 45. For the Monarchs. So still trying to get this all sorted out. There's Nathan for SAFC. Trotting down to what looks like the locker room. This may have some impact moving forward here, Tim.
It does. I mean, if you've lost a striker, with the way their system is set up out of the 4-4-2, losing a striker, they can basically stay the same 4-4-1 and let Patino be the lone player and let the midfielders make runs off of that and not lose any of their defensive shape because of the loss of Nathan. It's too early to push another midfielder up.
So the word we're hearing is red card. And yes, there it is. So Nathan getting the red well after and being sent to the locker room by the official.
For me, that's a little bit too early and not necessary to pull the red, bring the yellow, have a stern talk, bring both players together and give them both verbal warnings. But this early in the game for that, for me, wasn't necessary. But it changes the game, no question.
Absolutely. So now SAFC down one of their forwards. How do they adjust now?
Well, again, I think you stay with Patino as a solo forward, and you still have your two lines of four in the 4-4-2. So defensively, you're solid. The key for me is slow the game down. Don't put the ball back in play quickly. Play possession for as long as you can, and get to halftime, because you're basically, 13 minutes away from getting a chance to sit everyone down and reorganize thoughts, because you've got a whole second half to play a man down, and that can be a challenge if everyone isn't on the same page.
Yeah, so remember that at the 30-minute mark, Nathan being sent off with the red card. We believe it was on that clip to the back of the calf, but a red card that was well late after the sequence. So now with a 1-goal advantage, but one player down.
Yeah, there's no question that if it was intentionally done, then the referee has the right to give the red. And, the referees have their conversations with their lead official, their referee director every week. They go over these game clips, and very often in the beginning part of the season, referees are being encouraged to set the tone and use the cards as needed so that players know from the very start that things will be called if things get violent.
Well, I think we're seeing here a team that's hungry to be back out onto the pitch with the Monarchs of SLC in their season opener, and definitely getting a little chippy here. The officials having to gain control of this match, try to sort these things out. Players now, a lot of contact happening down on the pitch that's not necessarily related to play.
Right. But it's okay to stand up to these things and let the opponent know. I mean, getting your opponent off their game, to feel a little bit intimidated or rattled is a lot what this positioning of playing physically is about. And certainly a team that's got momentum, if you can get them arguing, they're going to lose that focus and concentration. So San Antonio just has to settle back down, recompose, get the possession going, defend well, get to halftime, and reorganize.
Yeah, you'd preached and said that word, patience. You'd already referenced the art of war and the patience necessary if you're going to try to rattle a team and get them off their patience. So as this match continues to evolve, something to keep an eye on is now SAFC down a man. The 30th minute, Nathan sent off.
Well, and these are important game situations, I mean, that can last a season. Is how are we going to play when we're a man down? Because it's not going to be the last time we see this. And how would we take advantage of a team that has a man down? I remember some years ago when I was coaching Colorado Rapids, and we had the defensive midfielder returning from the World Cup, Pablo Mastriani, and he had asked for the game in New York to be off because he was tired. And in the first 30 seconds of the game, he throws a tackle and gets a red card. So we have to play 89 minutes with a man down. And we pushed our playmaker, Carlos Valderrama, at the forward position and played the 4-4-1. And every time a ball was played into him, midfielders broke in a counterattack sense. And by the end of the night, we win the game 1-0 in the 85th minute. So if you're organized and you put your plan together, being a man down doesn't have to work against you.
Let's see, it could be more opportunity here for SAFC deep in the zone. That a nice job. Duzna stretched out as far as it looked like his frame could go to collect that ball, trying to chip it over his head. Now hold on, let me get this straight from that story that you had told as we see the replay here. He said he wanted the night off because he was tired. Well, but then he gave himself the night off.
Right, and as he's walking off the field, he's looking at me, and with the look of "I told you, coach."
You still put him in the game, but then he gets a red card a minute into the match.
Yeah. And what was even funnier is that with 20 minutes to go, New York's World Cup player,
That's
Clint
pretty
Mathis.
good right there.
Yeah, Clint Mathis, they went to put in the game, and I'm even thinking Clint's going to come in and do us and win the day. They had forgotten to put him on the roster because he had been gone for so long with the World Cup team. So he had to sit back down, but we won. And I got to give Pablo a good stare back in the locker room. Like, hey, it's no problem. I told you we didn't need you.
Oh, that is great. Well, I had mentioned Coach Marcinus saying for this team offensively, their identity is the collective. He had mentioned individual accountability as a strike with the left foot. That was a good look and some good heat.
Yeah, I think you can build a great team where your attack comes from many places and it's a shared approach. I think come crunch time, sometimes one or two players have to show that they're made of something more and they're the go-to guys. And also the leadership isn't always a shared thing. I think that PC, and I'm starting to see Cuello with his experience at LA Galaxy and international ties to where he's from, Argentina, and you know, even his Texas ties, played at SMU. I just think he's one of those guys from what I see that can lead at the right moments as PC can. And that's where, again, things aren't really equal. It's about two guys stepping up and giving the team what it needs at a given moment.
Looks like we may see another yellow card here. So this match, seeing a trio now of cards that have been drawn. Santiago Patino getting that one.
Well, and you know, he received a card last game against Colorado. So he's one that you have to start watching. Is he going to be the first to be suspended because of card accumulation? He's on that track right now. But this is where level heads have to prevail.
Yeah, that fine line, the balance between aggression. That was earlier in the sequence. There was no stoppage on that play. Then that challenge that was just coming in, Patino out of the right side of the frame is what had drawn the card.
Yeah, for me, that was the one that should have been potentially yellow carded because he came in with his cleats up. And but maybe the referee just didn't have the angle. The linesman should have from where it took place.
So here is the card. That is, you see that clip up high. It looked like up around the neck area. Daniel Flores, the one on the receiving end. The receiver of the yellow card, Santiago Patino. Chris Garcia received one for the Monarchs. And then the red card, obviously, for Nathan. It's what has been a spirited and chippy first half. Season opener for the Monarchs of Real Salt Lake City. Second match of the young season for SAFC. Coming off that 3-0 victory. It's another Rocky Mountain opponent, beating Colorado Springs last Saturday. 14 consecutive matches without a loss here at home at Toyota Field for SAFC. Really enjoying the one last week in front of fans.
Well, the fans were treated to 3 great goals, you know. Buying a ticket and getting that for your evening entertainment is as good as it gets.
Good reason to come back out.
Right.
Gorgeous evening here tonight in Central Texas.
So you can see the shape of 4 defenders just behind the halfway line, and Patino staying up top, trying to force the play one side so it becomes a little bit more predictable for the rest of the team to know where to shift and slide to defend.
And this is where, when you talk about the scouting report for a Monarchs team, 8 new international signings. But they very much so. No tape on them. Couldn't scout them. We couldn't as well. So trying to develop their identity, where their offense comes from.
And it's always hard as a coaching staff on the sideline. You start the game wanting to see your team get off to a good start. So it's hard to analyze both teams at the same time. But after the first few minutes of the game beginning, you shift your focus to the Monarchs and say, what do they have that can hurt us? How are they organized? Where do they have a numerical advantage or an advantage of any kind that we're going to have to solve as a problem? And hopefully they go in. And the challenge is playing a man down. You know, it's always something that makes it more difficult, but clearly San Antonio is still in the driver's seat.
Was the 3rd corner of the night for SLC. No opportunity out of it. Right now, the ledger reading 5 shots for the visitors, 2 for the home team, both with a shot on target. And the goal for Epps in the 19th. The difference right now.
Yeah, the goal, the shots for is much too low for this San Antonio team. And again, I go back to the possession game. Possession helps create chances, and I feel like sometimes they just go too direct, and that's either on like it was last game, but tonight it's not been on. And what that creates is loss of possession, and now you're defending again.
San Antonio bringing this ball all the way back past the midline, trying to rebuild. No whistle there. Over to Epps, trying to work through that ball. Will give him a chance, and there is the second goal.
A brilliant left-footed shot by Cuello.
Emil Cuello. So it looked like earlier in the sequence, Patino may have had an opportunity, but obviously they know their scout, the Monarchs.
Right.
There were 4 defenders that quickly came. But I think in that play, you look back to what Epps had done initially, helped set it up a little bit.
He did. I mean, the playmaking from the wide areas has been brilliant. And, you know, they just didn't do a good enough job closing Cuello down once he regains possession coming up here.
I'm talking about Epps. It attracted the defense. It was the miss hit, but the ball bounces favorably for SAFC.
Right, and the Monarch defender just wasn't quick enough to get out there and get big and try to block the shot. But the ball was placed brilliantly in the upper corner. I mean, Cuello really shows a high level of technical ability there.
You mentioned for Cuello the Roots in Texas, having played college soccer for SMU, the 19th overall draft pick by the LA Galaxy back in 2019, but striking in the 43rd. What a huge goal for SAFC. Down a man in a match that was quickly turning into very physical. And you talk about composure, but to put a second one on the board.
Right, and only 1 or 2 minutes before halftime. It really is a knife in Monarchs, with them feeling as though they've got some advantages coming up, playing a man up, and then to give up that goal like that is going to be very discouraging for them. And they'll try to regroup and re-strategize, but right now all of the advantages are with SA, even playing a man down.
So it was another booking. Cam Lindley getting the yellow card.
Lindley's really proving himself as an outstanding player. He's an Indiana kid. Played in the USL Championship for Indy 11, which is one of the stronger sides in that division. So a big plus to be able to add him into the midfield.
Talk big pluses there. The defense recognizing and sniffing out what looked to be a decent effort pushing forward. Monarchs have had some moments where they've looked like they could put some really good balls, could easily have one goal if it weren't for the good save by Cardone.
Yeah,
3 minutes added time here to wrap up the first half. Go ahead, Tim.
No, they're far from out of it. There's a lot of game left in the second half. And
love to try to find the scoreboard. Good challenge on the defense. Rock solid.
Great stand-up tackle.
Did not even have to make his keeper work. You love that.
Well, what I loved about that tackle is that he did not destroy the play where you leave a loose ball in the box. That was a ball-winning, stand-up, solid as a rock tackle. That's as good as it gets.
Yeah, I had mentioned earlier, Coach Marcina talking about the confidence this team gets from their back line, the experience of their 4 defenders. We are seeing.
Yeah, there's no question. If you're not going to give up goals, the confidence that gives the midfielders to commit forward, knowing that if they can't get back in time after loss of possession, that their back 4 are going to clean things up for them. When a midfielder lacks confidence in their defenders, then they hesitate to make a full commitment forward. They go halfway, knowing that they're going to have to be in a position to get back. So this team is showing they have complete confidence in that back 4 in Cardone, and that only creates a stronger and stronger attack.
It was number 63 for the Monarchs, Max Mata. He was the one that had the best scoring opportunity. It put a rocket on earlier. Possessing the ball here. Left-footed. Beautiful position and another save for the Beard.
I think one of the challenges in the second half is because so much of the goal creation has come from wide position. And normally you have Nathan, up there with Patino, and that gives you 2 bites at it, and occupies defenders. Now without Nathan there is needing one of the midfielders to break into the box, to make that late run, and join Patino in there to make sure that they just can't double up on Patino all of the time and deny him his chances for goals tonight.
So a very entertaining opening half. Second match of the season for SAFC. Season opener for the Monarchs of SLC. 2 goals scored in the opening half. Marcus Epps in the 19th, Emil Cuello in the 43rd, and the 43rd coming important with SAFC down a man. Nathan sent off in the 30th. So 2-0 things stand here at Toyota Field. Show you some of the highlights of the first half when we come back.
Reunite with Game Night with a 2021-22 Spurs ticket membership. On sale now. With safe seating and guaranteed savings, there's no better way to make your home court come back.
DeJounte, and one. Oh, mama!
To score yours or learn more, text FAMILY to 210-444-5050 or visit spurs.com/memberships.
Hello, this is Cornell with Frost Bank.
Hi there, this is Terry with Frost.
Good evening, this is Franklin. This is Robert with Frost.
Hello, this is Rosemary with Frost Bank.
Tired of one-topping pizza deals? Try the new $10 Tastemaker from Pizza Hut. Get any 3 toppings you want for just one easy payment of $10. Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
What's going on with Patty? Oh, he's in Mootopia again. He gets that way every time he drinks Mootopia. H-E-B Mootopia? That stuff is incredible. Exactly. Patty. Patty. Patty!
Bro, you were just a squirrel. And you were a bird. And you were a deer.
I was a deer? Rudy looked more like a squirrel type to me.
So what kind of bird are we talking about?
H-E-B's Mootopia. Ultra-filtered milk with 50% less sugar and 13 grams of protein.
You got a fast one there.
Just can't get him to slow down.
This class will help with that.
We get it. You got it. We're PetSmart.
It's true for PC. Great save by Matt Cardone. Gallegos to the back post. San Antonio FC back once again with the lead.
I need to warm up too. José, mis zapatos son de pitufo como los míos, okay? Before the ball comes to you, you have to scan it and see if there is pressure. Those are nice, aren't they? Yeah. You like them? Yeah. Should have put them in our colors. Mari, what's wrong? What's wrong with Charlie? He's saying that you're old. How old are you, Mari? Still 27. Mari, ball. Ready? Left. Ba. 3. Man, tú the box! Hey! Carlo, that's fantastic, buddy. That's fantastic. Step by step, step by step. Again, hey, it's a big elephant. Little bites, little bites, little bites. Low, low, low. Excellent, man. Say, buddy, I like it. That was beautiful. Good job. Touching the box, fantastic.
When ordinary people do extraordinary things, like becoming an organ donor, you give the gift of life. Without my brother donating his kidney and the world-class surgeons at Methodist Hospital Specialty and Transplant, I'm not sure I'd be alive today.
If you never have to donate an organ, you're lucky. But if you get to, you're lucky.
You can become an organ donor too by registering at sahealth.com/organ donor.
Hey, Spurs fans! At Conzone Plus, we want to hook you up with the best NBA experience you can possibly get. Upgrading your fan cave with the latest TVs, audio, and electronics is easy buckets. Plus, with our personalized approach to financing, you can get low payments over time, good credit, or building it. That's what we call nothing but net. The San Antonio Spurs always score big with Conzone Plus. Let's make it happen for you, too.
Welcome to the Cooking with the Spurs podcast.
Today's guest chef is Coyote, here to cook a meal.
Looks like Coyote sauteing some garlic, some onions, and some other stuff. That's a lot of smoke.
Does anyone else smell burnt fur?
Coyote should have just grabbed one of H-E-B's Meal Simple option.
Yeah, those tasty meals would be nice right about now.
When life gets crazy, keep it simple. H-E-B Meal Simple. Chef-inspired meals ready in minutes.
You all right there, buddy?
We have been helping thousands of small businesses, not only here in San Antonio, but across our footprint. Knowing that SWBC was our partner in our health benefits and all our employee benefits was a relief for me. I knew that we could continue to do our work, we could continue to do our mission, because SWBC had our back. I tell you, for a not-for-profit, we have an excellent benefit program.
Welcome back to Toyota Field, San Antonio, Texas, 2-0, the home team over the visiting Monarchs of Real Salt Lake. Thanks for staying with us, Tyler Denning, Tim Hankinson, and Tim, you go back to last week, 3 goals there, 2 goals here. It has been a very entertaining offensive season thus far.
It has, and what's so impressive is every single goal has been created by a different player. And the strikers are always in their poaching position, ready to get the finishing done. But it's coming from the left, it's coming from the right, it's coming through that channel pass we saw to Epps. And Epps' decision to play it a hard, low, far post shot is just classic technique, and they're doing everything right.
Yeah, we saw some theatrics in the first half, 2-0 as mentioned. Let's show you how we got there. And Epps, that is the common theme. He's been involved, and it was Marcus Epps in the 19th, first goal of the game. Look at that, led right through, and then the perfect placement, as you had mentioned when we saw it.
Yeah, the channel pass is such a wonderful way to beat a line of defenders and make that run in behind. But it's what Epps does to not overstrike it, not try and beat the keeper at the near post, and be able to slip it away like that. Brilliant.
Great save by Cardoni on that shot from Mata. The Monarchs have had their opportunities. Epps missing on that one, and that ball getting to the foot of Emil Cuello, who puts it home in the 43rd to make it 2-0.
Yeah, Cuello's placement on that shot, again, very impressed with shot placement. Guys just aren't overstriking the ball, hoping for the best. They're looking for their corners, high or low, and the placement has been outstanding.
One thing buried within that highlight sequence there, we saw the officials going to the booking sheet quite a bit. Nathan getting that red card in the 30th. Obviously, SAFC able to get that second goal, which will prove to be probably pretty important moving forward. But how did things change in the second half being down a man?
Well, you know, for San Antonio, you cannot just sit back with 45 minutes to go. You cannot play beat the clock and try to defend your own half. You've got to pick the moments to get forward. I call them triggers, you know, looking for certain moments where you can put pressure and keep the other team off balance, and then defend well in your own half, because what's going to happen is, as the game goes on, Monarchs are going to start taking more risk. They're going to start throwing the kitchen sink forward, and that's going to leave the opportunity for San Antonio to counterattack and look for goal 3 as the game goes on.
Yeah, for the Monarchs, they did have their opportunities. We saw just one of those, Mata putting a rocket in that Cardoni had saved. But if you're trying to get back into this game down to, what do the Monarchs need to focus on?
Numbers in the box. You're not always going to create the perfect chance. I think you need numbers of chances, which means get into the final third and look to create service, but get numbers in the box and be ambitious and hungry attacking that ball.
This is a team playing their season opener for Real Salt Lake City, so still trying to find some of that identity, but it's been a great feeling out process for both teams in this opening half as SAFC leading 2-0 as we take a look at some of the stats. Tim, what stands out to you?
Well, you know, in comparison to the last game, where we look for improvement statistically, clearly the possession number is much higher than it was in the last game against Colorado. So I'm very pleased to see that. And, you know, the shots on target are good. The interceptions, outstanding, meaning we're not playing on our heels. We're stepping up and looking to win the ball off them before they can get started.
So when you talked offensively, the linkage for SAFC, Where is it starting from? I talked with Coach Marcina. He had mentioned earlier in the week they really want to turn teams around. Do you see that's what they're doing and that's what's leading to the offensive opportunities?
Yeah, the ball starts at the back where Cardone is playing to one of the center backs to try and build a play. The thing that I want to see is more activity from Lindley and PC coming to collect the ball. Not every defender is a great passer out of the back, and if you don't get that first pass going successfully, then you're going to find yourself on your heels defending on the time with turnovers. But getting the midfielders to be more active so the defenders don't have to play these longer, riskier passes. And when you do that, then that's going to help the next wave of the attack.
Let's talk about the defense for a little bit. Still a clean sheet, no goals conceded for both Cardone, but that back line, I had mentioned it, 4 players back there, all with high-level experience, and they're showing it.
They are, every single guy showing composure. The stand-up tackles, they're not desperate tackles, they're ball-winning tackles. They're daring the opponent to try and get past them and making that statement of stepping into it. And when a back four plays that solidly, the confidence that gives to the midfield to make a full commitment in the attack, running the midfielders forward. If you don't feel that confidence, midfielders are going to go only halfway because they're afraid they won't get back in time to help out. So the confidence in the backs leads to more freedom in the attack, and that's what you're going to see in the second half.
Okay, a couple quick keys. SAFC up 2 but down a man. Quick keys for both teams second half.
Again, this goes back to something I said earlier for San Antonio, is patience. Look for moments to apply pressure but don't overcommit. Defend well and look for the counterattack as the game goes on, because for the Monarchs, they're going to take more and more risks, sending in players forward, trying to get that first one, maybe the second one, and that's going to leave the back door open, and that's what we can capitalize on.
Fans back in the building. Boy, are they being treated to the offensive fireworks. Already 2 goals on the sheet. Epson, the 19th, Cuello in the 43rd. SAFC up 2-0 here at half. We'll be back with the second here in San Antonio in a moment.
It's true for PC. Great save by Matt Cardone. Gallegos to the back post. San Antonio FC back once again with the lead.
New Highlander, Mr. D?
Yeah, it was time for a change. For something nicer, more refined, with plenty of space. Comfy, Derek?
Yes, sir.
Elevate every ride in the spacious 2021 Highlander.
Get $1,500 customer cash, or qualified lessees can lease the sophisticated new 2021 Highlander L for only $279 a month. Toyota, let's go places.
If sweat is your body's natural way of cooling itself down, then condensation is a beer's natural way of saying, drink me. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer.
Both teams back out on the pitch. SAFC looking to extend their home unbeaten streak to 15 consecutive matches on a gorgeous night here in San Antonio, Texas. Tyler Denning, Tim Hakinson to bring you the second half of the action. SAFC up 2-0 by virtue of a Marcus Epps goal in the 19th. Emil Cuello striking in the 43rd, but down a man. Nathan, one of their 2 forwards, sent off in the 30th minute. Against a Real Monarchs SLC team playing their season opener.
Well, it's interesting because we said at the 30th minute when there was the red card, this could be an important game for San Antonio to understand what do we do with a 1-0 lead but playing a man down. How do we do that? So in the future, if we find ourselves in this situation, we have confidence in knowing what we can do. And they answered that in those 15 minutes before the half by getting the second goal. I think for Monarchs being the first game, they have to answer the question in the next 45, can we dig ourselves out of a hole and come back into this situation. And so it'll be interesting to see how they deal with being down 2 goals.
Yeah, the shots in their favor, 8-4. Monarchs over SAFC. The shots on target equal at 2 apiece. Saw the great save by Cardoni on the shot from Max Mata. There's another early opportunity for the Monarchs as well. But SAFC has capitalized on theirs. Well-placed balls for 2 goals.
It's good possession, good change of point of attack. I love the run off the ball there, drawing a defender.
SAFC is liked when the ball has been on the foot of that player right there, number 20, Marcus Epps. Challenged Duznups to at least make the save on the right-footed strike.
Well, and something we talked about before is that on that particular play, great overlap, draws the defender. Epps, it opens him coming inside for the shot. But I was noticing around the penalty mark, only Patino, no other San Antonio players. It's going to be very important, being a striker down, that one of the midfielders, even the opposite wing midfielders, makes that run into the box to give him partnership.
Watch this opening 5 minutes, as it'll be crucial for the Monarchs as they strike. Was a counter right back, so the Monarchs with their first goal of the season. It was a great pass up that right side that started the sequence, and we have a 2-1 contest.
Yeah, and quite honestly, giving up a goal like that is not about playing a man down, because the position you have a man down is nowhere near 30 yards of your goal. And it just, to me, didn't seem like there was any presence in the midfield to disrupt the approach of the attack. And defenders have got to be playmakers. They got to step up and make the same type of plays and tackles that they did in the first half. And that's what we didn't see there.
So Ibrahim Banche, and you saw the Monarchs, they have come out of the locker room with spirit. They put that ball in the back of the net, grab it immediately back out to start play again. So quickly in the 47th to make it a 2-1 contest, as things now have changed. First goal conceded of the season for SAFC.
And, you know, giving up this goal, now you have to look for the reaction out of San Antonio. Yes, we want to get to their goal and strike back, but right now is take a breath and let's settle the game. Again, get the possession going, get the game back on your terms, and get the opponent having to defend you.
Banche, an ASC Mimosa player in the Ivory Coast First Division last season. How about this for a birthday? Banche born on January 1st, 2001.
Wow.
1-1-1. That's the first goal of the season, first goal of the game for the Monarchs to make this a 1-goal contest.
You know, Cuello is such a brilliant player, but I will tell you, he's got true Argentinian blood running through him, because his physical tackle is so strong and aggressive that with the referee being a little bit card friendly, can end up getting him in trouble. And he just needs to be a little bit calmer and use his intelligence, use his technical ability to influence the game and not make it just about the physical aspect right now.
It was Cuello that had gone deep with possession onto the Monarchs. Third of the field, dispossessed now, moving back forward. Put into the middle. Trying to chip that ball in, but defense stops the push momentarily. Still possessed. Down in the attacking third.
You know, the clearance header, just to make a point to young players out there that are watching the game, you know, a cross came in from that left side, and it was hit fairly centrally. But that defender, instead of heading it straight out, which is where opposing midfielders sit waiting to hit volleys back, he deflected it out the other side, took it out of the danger zone. And it's such a great lesson as an example for young defenders to see how to redirect clearances like that.
How about the cat and mouse interaction here between Chris Garcia and Cardoni? Garcia was right on him, Cardoni picking the ball up. Safe to say some good blood pumping on both sides for these two teams.
Yeah, you had 3 coaches up in the coach's box on Monarchs team.
So that counter punch thrown immediately coming out of the locker room. 47th, Bonche strikes. This is forward flag is up though. Trying to find Patino, the hat trick scorer.
Another great example of that channel pass, playing a pass through a channel that the run is not running through, so it's not obvious, but the run coming through a different channel to meet the ball on the other side. Timing was just off, but almost broke it again.
Wow, bent back. Two number 19s. Bodie Davis on the challenge. Chris Lima, the player down on the pitch.
You have the foul count?
I get it for you here. But it's going north quickly.
Yes, it is.
Wow. Bit more of a wrestling move there, just bending Lima. Getting flipped underneath there. Right now, 14 fouls conceded for SAFC, 8 for the Monarchs. 2 yellow cards against the home squad. Lindley in the 45th, Patino in the 38th, Nathan thrown off with the red in the 31st. 1 yellow card assessed against the visitors, and Garcia in the 26th.
Yeah, I think against Colorado we committed 19 fouls. I think we're going to pass that number tonight. It's really become a chippy match.
Yeah, 14 with 53.5 minutes played. I wasn't a math major, but I think we're on pace.
We're going to get that number up there.
A very physical game.
Well, and I think the good thing is that it's okay to be physical. There are physical aspects of the game, and I think both teams are meeting those demands. No one's backing down. It's just a matter of keeping cool heads so you don't find yourself with another red card.
Right, I think, as you mentioned earlier, the patience in making sure that it doesn't then change the way that you're playing the game. That's what SAFC has done such a good job of tonight, recollecting themselves, their composure, the response. Coach Marcina had also highlighted the word resiliency.
Yeah, actually, when we play these games of what's your favorite word in the English language, resilience is my favorite, because in sport, the ability to get knocked down and come back stronger is what the game is all about.
Coach Marcina had told me a lot about the performance mindset training that they do. It focused on a lot of it last year. Knowing the adversity they'll see, and that is going to be the story, as equalizing in the 54th, the Monarchs. Wow.
Again, my concern, which we talked about on the last goal, is we're not seeing, from a defensive midfield standpoint, our midfielders stepping up, disrupting, because the defense had dropped all the way to the 6-yard line, our back four. And our midfielders are in a position at the top of the box to deal with players like that. And it just seemed like we watched instead of reacted.
Let's take a look. That ball just clearing the head of the defender.
But you can see our back four all dropped in there. And you see that clearance of that defender. Headed it straight out to the top of the box, which is exactly what we talked about not doing, which was reflected by it being done correctly on the previous play by the defender, you know, deflecting it out, you know, in a wide direction. So just shows you how those details are so vital in the game.
Yeah, that header not able to clear, and then just a strong look at goal. Looked like maybe a deflection as well. The ball able to clear through and even it up at 2 apiece. So not the start that you want for the home team.
Right, but it's certainly what we talked about. How are the Monarchs going to react being down 2 goals in the first game of the season? Something they needed to find out. And they certainly have shown themselves that they can come back. It's a question of who's going to finish the job tonight. Who's going to close the deal and close the game.
So Bodie Davis in the 55th makes it a 2-2 contest. This is one of the great things about early in the season is that you get to learn a lot about your team. Go through so much training, but now the live game, especially down a man after being up 2-0, we now have a very intriguing contest.
Right, and you know, as a coach, you see a game like this for either side and what the circumstances they're having to deal with. And there will be a game, could be next week, could be a month from now or 2 months from now, where the coach is going to go into the locker room at halftime and basically look at his guys and say, we've been here before. We've been in this situation. We know what to do, and we know how to get through it successfully. So both teams picking up a lot of game knowledge tonight about themselves.
Resiliency.
Yeah.
We'll find out. Kudos to the Monarchs and their resiliency. Obviously, whatever was said in the locker room at halftime, they came out and they delivered upon. As being the aggressors, the dictators, finding their opportunities, capitalizing. Bonche in the 47th, another in the 55th for Davis. Trying to get another here. That glances off the post. SAFC trying to just find their legs defensively. Get this ball cleared as they do.
Well, again, as that ball came out before the volley, I'm watching our holding midfielders. And nobody is chasing out after it. We're all turning, standing, watching, hoping nothing bad happens.
Yeah, that ball had a great chance so far. Cardoni can't even try to attempt to make a play. So wow, how the momentum has opened up and shifted here in the second half. Talked the first, there were good opportunities for the Monarchs, just couldn't capitalize, but they stayed with Such, gotten 2 goals to equalize in this opening 15 minutes. Fans wanted to call there on a ball that maybe looked like it glanced off the hand, and these 2 players needing to be separated.
Yeah, PC's got to keep his cool. There was nothing about that play that needed to be argued about. They got the call. Let's get your head focused on tactically where do we go from here.
So that was initially what the protest was about. That ball glancing off the arm of the defender Johnson, and then Johnson and PC getting chest to chest. No, Canelo's fighting up in Dallas tonight, but had some pretty good interactions.
That is.
Down I-35 between the players this evening.
Well, the problem is when it gets that heated that you're going chest to chest, all it takes is one more reaction, and you've got another red card.
SAFC 5-2-1 against the Monarchs all time, 3-0-1 at Toyota Field. Protecting their 14-game unbeaten regular season run. That the goal scorer in Bonche down on the pitch right now, number 41, grabbing what looks like that left ankle.
You know, but I have to give kudos and congratulations to the team president, Tim Holt, and Coach Marcin and his staff, is because there are only 2 players out here from last year's squad. And so many new faces. It takes time to get to know each other. You look at some of the missing faces from last year. Pirano, who's in Portugal, who played such an important attacking role. Solignac, we'll see later in the year, who's playing for El Paso, was a big goal scorer. And Perusa, who came in late on loan from Toronto and made his presence known in the attacking half. And to be able to replace those players with such maturity that they're showing, even though they're in a real battle now, is really a great accomplishment in a short period of time to reconstruct your roster.
Yeah, I love the conversation with Coach Marcina earlier this week, asking about the identity for this team, and he said 2 trademark standards: aggressors with and without the ball, and earn everything and get everything. This is an intense, focused group. You can definitely tell that they have a dedicated game plan, and what they want to do collectively is going to be the way that they strike. What's challenging tonight is that they're doing it without, from the 30 minutes on, Mark, one of their forwards in Nathan, but as you've mentioned repeatedly, that will happen throughout the course of a long season. You're going to have to play down players and figure out different ways to try to win ball games.
Right. Yeah, and you know, one of the challenges for the coaches when you bring in so many new players and you're trying to introduce a concept of how we want to play. What's our system? Where are we going to defend? Are we going to high pressure? When are we going to high pressure? How are we going to play out of the back? All of these different concepts of the team. Getting mature players like this, guys who have played Major League, to buy in on what you're asking them to do is usually the toughest task of the year. And the living proof of it is having a couple of successful results early, playing that way, so the players lock in their belief that, yeah, this is our game, this is how we're going to do it, this is how we're going to win a championship. And I think that the San Antonio team has proven that they're on the same page, they've got a game plan, and there are going to be some bumps along the way, like we've seen in the second half tonight, giving up a couple of goals. But basically, they've held themselves together well and are still in a position, a man down, to win this game and take 3 points.
Had another whistle blown there, that against Coutinho. I can't tell you how many times Coach Marcina utilized the phrase "turn the opponent." When I spoke to him, he said as frequently as possible, but had asked him what the emphasis will be, and he had talked about the intent and that the press is our playmaker.
Well, turning the opponent is, let's see this play through.
Epps moving forward, taking more space, but off the defender.
The philosophy of turning your opponent is really reflective in them playing a more direct game, because it means they're forcing defenders to turn and chase back towards their own goal, and then also applying pressure before they can recompose themselves and face up the field. We have not seen, for me, as much high pressure as we saw, particularly in the second half against Colorado. First half, they kind of sat in the middle third and let Colorado bring the ball and then tried to counter in. Second half, they clearly came out and pressured all the way high and denied Colorado's ability to even put the ball back in play. I've not seen as much of that tonight, but we know it is in their game plan and they'll go to it as needed. But being a man down, it's very hard to apply pressure everywhere because there's always a man free. So it'll be interesting to see how they adapt along the way.
Yeah, getting to know this Monarchs team as well, getting a read on a team that best regular season record in the league in 2017. They won the first and only league championship for them in 2019, but mentioned last year, record of 3-11-2, 1-3-1 on the road.
Well, you know, that can be reflective of after a successful 2019, suddenly some of their best players are pulled up to the first team roster. And then they start reaching down to their academy for young players to bring up and get the game experience to develop.
Was a sneaky shoulder there on the challenge by Chris Garcia to earn just a little bit of space. Looked like it could have ended up in a decent scoring chance for his team. May have another one here, but sniffed out. Good hard challenge.
Defender really did a good job using his body to kind of steer the opponent off that play.
Yeah, I love a play like that where it's really just 50-50.
Yeah.
You got both players, the offender, the defender, going for the ball, going for that space, whoever gets there first.
But in those decisions, because you're in the penalty box, you can't just go crashing in to be first to the ball. You've really got to be intelligent and position your body to steer him off the ball. And he did a great job with that.
Home team is kind of got some of that energy reeled in after conceding the 2 quick goals, 47th, 55th, but still Monarchs team have definitely been the dictators, the aggressors here in the second half through and through.
Yeah, there's no question that Monarchs have come out on fire. They get that first goal, that reinforces their second half game plan. They get the second one, and they know they're a man up. It gives them a lot of confidence and momentum. I think some of the ways you break momentum is give up fouls, which they certainly have shown they can do tonight, but you can't give them away within striking distance to your goal. You have to use territory like in the middle third of the field to break momentum using a foul. And then it's also about when you get the ball, let's keep it for a while. You know, keep the ball on our terms. Because every time we give it away, we're back defending. And let's make the Monarchs do the defending the rest of the second half.
See the yellow card going against PC. He's been playing with fire a little bit tonight, had multiple instances where close plays you talked about could have potentially led to a card, but more importantly, coming off of that, look at this space and where this kick will be taken from for the Monarchs.
I'll tell you, that's an art form of the game of getting a guy who knows how to take care of a free kick like that. The number of goals you can get, it's just there aren't enough specialists out there. A lot of guys who want to take it, who think of themselves as specialists, but
are they capable?
Yeah, most of the time they're imposters, and they just insist on being the guy, but very few that can make it happen. Now, this is where you just would like to see them keep the ball. Look, you just
little more possession.
Keep it.
Yeah, we haven't seen as much linkage.
No, and Monarchs now having to defend, you know, and the game's on our terms.
Lots of defenders back there for the Monarchs. Only a trio of attackers.
And that's where you want them. You know, you want them to have to defend deep in their half, as far away from your goal as possible.
Quickly thrown in. Epps working with it, trying to break through. The two defenders does. Epps has shown creativity tonight. Can it lead to another opportunity? The defense there to tip that ball out, but Marcus Epps, don't look down when he has the ball on his foot.
No. Defender did a great job stepping up, taking a couple of quick strides to get the tackle in. Otherwise, that one could be in the back of the net.
And you see the attention that he's getting, trying to leave it for Lindley. Lindley tried to go with the touch, and it had just a little too much for him to get a quality shot off. So we're over the 70th minute mark. SAFC playing down a player. Nathan sent off via red card in the 30th minute. Epps started the scoring in the 19th, Cuello in the 43rd. It was a great opening half, even in spite of that red card. But the Monarchs have come out quickly in the second. Ibrahim Banche in the 47th, Bodie Davis in the 55th. 2 apiece.
I feel like the Monarchs are not doing a good enough job stepping up, double teaming the ball. Remember, they're a man up. They're giving San Antonio too much time on the ball. I call it fake pressure by a defender, where he takes 3 steps to him, but he's still 5 steps off of him, and gives the San Antonio player with the ball time to look up, make his next pass. And they're just not taking advantage of being a man up like that. And also they were dropping in their own half too deep. You don't want to, at this point in the game, being a man up 2-2, yes, you're happy to be tied, but don't make it a game to just try and get the point out of it. You're in a position to get 3 out of it. If you're Monarchs, you should be more aggressive, and maybe in the closing minutes, if you feel you haven't gotten it, is be satisfied with the 2-2. But right now there's still, you know, a good 30 minutes left on the clock, or 25 minutes left on the clock if you had extra time. You should still be aggressive going after the win.
Looks like we'll have our first substitution. Christian Neidigger will come in for Bodie Davis. Bodie Davis had the equalizer in the 55th, but you saw him down there on the pitch. The 10-game starter from last year, 2 goals scored then for the Utah native, but Davis will take a seat. Neidigger scored 5 goals last season for the RSL Academy. Another very young player.
Yeah, I also love for the young players watching the broadcast. You saw how the player came off and was embraced by the player coming in. You know, and the same thing for the teammates, applauding the player coming off for a job well done, and also applauding to encourage the player coming in to make an impact, to be a difference maker coming into the game. Don't just come in to play, is come in to make a difference.
Neidigger, just a junior in high school, one of those RSL Academy players on the roster. So now in as a sub.
Again, this is where San Antonio just be patient. Get your possession game going, switch the ball from side to side to make the Monarchs chase. And do the hard work to defend. Easily should have been the foul with his arms wrapped all the way around Epps in that case. I think that ball ended up in Morgan's Wonderland over there.
That is out of the stadium indeed. Cleared the whole concourse. May have bounced completely across the street. So SAFC trying to just find some rhythm down here in the attacking third. See if it can come off of this. A yellow card thrown. And a red card, so now we will play even. 10-10. This, Tim, is going to be exciting for the remainder of this match. Chris Garcia has been in on multiple interactions throughout this one. We saw him right up on goalkeeper for SAFC, Matt Cardoni, earlier. But the referees having enough at least on that. A yellow second for Garcia, and that'll be it.
This makes it interesting. I can see Monarchs now playing even numbers, starting to say, let's just play for the point here. Let's defend well and come away in our first game with a road point and feel good about that. But San Antonio has to be completely regenerated, knowing that they're not a number down, and it's 2-2 at home. And here's a chance to get the 3 points tonight.
Yeah, so very interesting. Both forwards for these teams having been taken out of the game. Garcia with his second yellow card. You saw the challenge there. It did look like he was going for the ball, but been in on multiple occasions, Garcia. So a second yellow, and he is gone. So we will play for now 10 on each side. This ball going all the way back. Dusnup was pressed up, and he had to hightail it back towards his box.
The shot was a bit optimistic, in my opinion, but
fans liked it.
The fans loved it. Yeah.
All right, so break this down for me as a coach now, how this thing has changed. Do you change your strategy now that both teams, now that you're back to even playing 10-10?
Yeah, you know, before I was saying San Antonio can be patient as Monarchs push forward and take more risks. The counterattack will be there. I think that whole scenario has changed hands. We're now the visiting team, 2-2, even numbers on the field now. I think Monarchs can be patient and wait, because the incentive for San Antonio to push players forward to go after the win at this point, knowing they're not playing a man down and they are at home, I think will be there, and that could leave, again, the counterattack opportunity for Monarchs. So both teams have to be very careful and, again, take care of the ball, defend well, and look for mature chances. Don't just get up there and dump the ball in the box. Don't waste chances. Try and build great chances, which I refer to as mature chances versus immature chances, and make the chances count.
So it should be a very exciting remaining 15 minutes or so here on a beautiful late spring, almost early summer evening.
It's getting there.
It was almost 90 degrees here right before we started.
And I think when you talk about additional extra time that the referees will add, there have not been a lot of substitutions, which usually add time, but there have been 4 goals, and or at least 2 in this half, and you've had a lot of stoppages for disciplinary reasons that could add quite a bit of time onto the clock.
Speaking of substitutions, Chris Lima will sit down. On will come Ollie Wright, played 6 minutes in the season opener, a collegiate player at St. Mary's. So Wright on, Lima off.
My guess is they're going to use PC as a left back and drop him and let the new player come in and get fresh legs into the midfield like we're seeing now.
There's those fresh legs right there. Right, working, and he will try a long strike.
Well, as I was saying, you have
mature
mature
versus
opportunities.
immature chances. I'm listening to you.
I think it would have been better off just helping to continue to build the player and bring a couple more players to interact in combination to create a much better chance to get a goal.
Right, doing some of his development in England, played for the Fulham and Brentford academies, mentioned collegiately playing at St. Mary's. But yes, very ambitious, maybe he's feeling some of the juice, but maybe just in terms of a team that needed some of that good mojo. You talked about how different the game then switched with Garcia getting his second yellow, and that boost, the invigoration for an SAFC team that really has been punched in the mouth coming out of half.
Well, I used to have to educate my team on, if I bring this player in off the bench, what does that mean when you see him? Does it mean we're going for the win, or does it mean we're trying to lock down and defend out of it? And clearly this player came in and said, we're going for the win. Yeah. Let's go forward, get our shots off, and come away with 3.
Yeah, definitely didn't look like he was in there to dribble the ball and possess it for.
He's not playing backwards.
But I love the way you put it, mature versus immature chances. But you love the energy now that is come back into this match as both teams playing with 10. For SAFC, they've done it since the 30-minute mark. For the Monarchs, Garcia getting his second yellow card here around the 75-minute mark. So do these teams play for 3 or either content to get out with 1? SAFC riding that 14-match unbeaten streak, quickly played off the foul. And
Yeah,
SAFC
take your first touch forward here and gain that ground.
There it is. Right, once again, you can definitely see those fresh legs.
Yeah. Now that's what you refer to as a bit of a tactical foul, but it was done in the appropriate area of the field, which is the middle third. No threat to goal, warning to the player. You do that same foul within 30 of your goal, and you've created a goal against opportunity for the Monarchs. And so, much better decision. PC chasing him down, chasing him back, doing a great job as a left back. He started his career there. He knows everything that comes with that position. So even though it's a position switch at this point in the game, it strengthens that position, putting him back there. So
maybe an opportunity here. 2 defenders coming. Did not like the challenge. Gleedle was sent to the pitch, was quickly up to talk to Moberg. Moberg, it looks like, will be the recipient of another yellow card. We've seen plenty of colors coming off the cards tonight.
Right. Well, Gleedle's playing well. He made USL Team of the Week with Patino and PC. Players making their mark already, getting noticed in the league, and he's one of them.
Yeah, and that there wasn't any need for that. The ball was already, he tried to play through. It was just a shoulder, quickly in to separate the two. Gleedle obviously taking exception. If I can tell you one thing, Tim, you're going to want to watch these teams play the next time they get together.
Yeah, it's a new rivalry for sure.
Yeah, they are developing a...
Because if you look at the advantages historically of San Antonio against the Monarchs, San Antonio's way up there.
Taken down in the box. Duznup going up to control that. Patino going over to plead. He thought for sure was challenged hard.
We'll have to see the replay on this.
Santiago Patino was very displeased.
I don't think that there was a play on the ball. Probably not. It looked like it was a bit shoulder to shoulder, and maybe Patino realized he couldn't get to the ball and let the referee know that he certainly would love a call on this one. Probably a good non-call by the referee.
It was Daniel Flores, the defender, on the challenge. You saw both arms up were immediate. PC, the pass off. Hindley trying to go down again and look for right with the strike. Duznup right there into the chest, though.
It's a good volley. You can't just hit it at goal. You've got to pick half of the goal, look for your corners. That's where you're going to get a goal out of it. But it was well struck.
Yeah, the energy has been good for the inserted Ollie right. Trying to just target that. Let's take a look one more time.
Well, I go back to some of the other goals we've seen in the placement by Patino and Epps to find corners. And again, even on a volley like that, you've got to look for the far post at that point. You've got half the net open instead of just striking it towards goal, which typically ends up right at the keeper.
PC trying to look deep down to Cuello. As we approach the 86th minute mark, do we have some theatrics in for the finish?
I don't see why not. This game has been nothing but theatric. Ooh,
and
great
wow,
save.
Cardoni jumping up to put that down. There was protest.
That was a great save.
Yeah, it was a trio of players, one defender for SAFC, one attacker, and Cardoni coming out to play the ball, and smartly so.
And as a keeper, you cannot hesitate. You see that your defender no longer is in a position to defend that, and you have no choice but to fly out and make your body as big as possible. And take it on the chest, take it on the face, take it on his beard. But he did an outstanding, brave job in getting his body on that.
What a night for Max Mata. He was the one that just had the opportunity in the save. He had a great goal-scoring opportunity earlier in the match as well that was saved by Cardoni. So Mata will sit down. Eris Briggs, the forward inserted. So do these two teams go for the full three? Challenge from behind.
That should be a red.
That'll be
that
a yellow.
surprises me.
Sam Brown will receive it, but that was clearly from directly behind.
Obviously, if it had been a breakaway with no defenders and you get taken from behind, automatic red. And there were defenders in a position to defend, so I can see the referee utilizing the yellow, but it's so blatant at this point. I think the referee has the right to show the red on a play like that.
By my count now, 9 cards on the evening.
Wow. Oh. Unlucky on that touch.
Yeah, uncharacteristic, at least in terms of what we've seen tonight.
Yeah.
From Marcus Epps. Scored the first goal of the game. It felt like a very long time ago now, and everything that we have seen. So yes, now the interesting decision for these two coaches, as both have seen the pendulum swing back and forth in their ways. Do you play for the 1 point, or do you play aggressive?
You know, I think if you play to win, you have a better chance to win. And and I think both teams this early in the season, they want to win games.
Yeah.
You know? And to tell your Monarch guys, sit back after they've gotten out of a 2-0 hole would be a mistake. And with San Antonio, you're at home against basically a team you've historically dominated. And, you know, you got to go for the win.
Yeah, SAFC has to feel like they got that new lease on life. Scored in the 19th, but then Nathan sent off in the 30th, but able to back-end it in the 43rd, go in with a 2-0 advantage at half. But kudos to the Monarchs, came out, absolutely shot out of a cannon. Bache in the 47th, Bodie Davis with a great strike in the 55th. But then Garcia getting his second yellow card in the 75th minute. So both teams from that point on playing with 10 each.
Well,
It's been a very physical.
Cardoni's a big boy, and if he lands on both of those guys, they're going to feel it. But no ill will there. He was coming out to get the ball, and that's what his defender was waving him to do. And in order to get the ball, you have to be aggressive. That surprises me, only 3 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, the amount of stoppage that we've seen. Just 3 minutes being added onto the clock. Is Bache being attended to?
Just like a goal or a substitute, usually they add 30 seconds on to extra time. If you count the number of cards and added 30 seconds for each card, you probably have 6 minutes worth of extra time.
Yeah, 4 alone in the second half. Bache up. Is he taking water? As that time continues to tick off. Okay, so now if you're SAFC here, knowing that the time dwindling, have the ball on the foot of Cardone, how do you try to build forward?
I think you can play a little bit more direct. I think that puts the ball, you know, just like Coach Marcina said, make the defenders turn, is force them to have to turn and chase back. If you don't regain possession, you still have put the opponent 80 yards away from your net, and it gives you plenty of time to get your defensive shape, to defend well, and just keep trying to put that pressure on them. But again, don't waste your chance. Look for good opportunities once you're down there.
See the ball pressure up top from Briggs, just put on, trying to move forward, losing it up the right sideline, so a throw-in coming for the Monarchs.
I mean, I think what Coach Marcina will have to address is how they were in the driver's seat with a 2-0 lead, even though they were a man down. At the striker position, that's not going to make a difference in how you defend. And there's an expression about turning off for a moment as athletes or as a team. And I felt that coming out of the locker room, they turned off for a second and basically let Monarchs back in the game with 2 early goals in the second half.
Can they find one more opportunity? PC will push it over, trying to push it down. Dispossessed. Chance moving into the box. Leaving it, and the shot off the crossbar! Cuello nearly with his second and what surely would have been the game winner. In a match that has nearly had everything, Tim.
What a magical way to finish the night that would have been.
No whistle yet. So SAFC still with an opportunity trying to leave the ball in.
But I love the never give up attitude. You know, putting balls on frame, getting the shot off, fighting for 50-50s around the box. San Antonio's shown a great spirit, a great character tonight, competitiveness that will help them through many, many games this year, winning it right at the end in future matches.
I don't think these two teams are going to be getting together to share jerseys post-match. Based on what we have seen, wow, this match has had so much and swinging back and forth in terms of the emotion.
Yeah, they need to share ice bags with each other.
That'll end it. So still unbeaten at home is SAFC, now over 14 matches, but you see much protesting to the officiating crew that was tasked with a very tough job tonight in what was a very physical match. SAFC getting 2 in the first half, but the response for the Monarchs with 2. Look, we still have more cards to be dealt out. The game's already over.
Yeah, you know, this is, as a coach managing the sideline, when you've had a hot, heated game like this, I will always tell my assistant coaches, as soon as the whistle blows, sprint out and get between our players and the referee, because we see this happen, and an unnecessary yellow card, and also you start building a reputation amongst the referees that this is a team that talks back all the time. So,
wow, it was nearly a winner for Cuello that glanced off the crossbar, but it will stand a 2-2 ball game between SAFC and the Monarchs of Real SLC. So 1 point for each team. Second match of the season for SAFC and the opener for the Monarchs. For my partner Tim Hankinson, Tyler